Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and welcome to As Above, So Below, a rune and tarot divination for Thursday, the 26th day of January, 2023. Well, let me make sure that my sound is up here, put it up a little more. I forget to do that. I turn it down when I listen to the video, and I forget to turn it back up. Anyway, I hope you guys have had a great week. It's been really kind of up and down here around the old homestead, and but everything seems to be going well. We had a couple of days in the 50s, and I'm not sure if we're going to have that again today. Maybe, but then it's supposed to this weekend get into single digits, like at night. Like I think I saw 4 degrees, and I think maybe one of them might have said 2, but then I guess it starts to come back up again. So I don't know what that's about. I don't know. Obviously air's coming from the north, but anyway, the geese were only here the one day, which is what happened. Well, it happens every year that way. They'll stop by and check us out, make sure it's still us, and then just kind of look over the situation, and then they come back later. So nobody's laying anything yet on the dock, so I will let you know when that starts. So maybe I'll even have a picture I can show you, or I can put it up on the blog or something. You can go see it over there. Anyway, let me get my rune bag out here, and where are my esoteric influences for today? Here they are. Okay, so let's go over the esoteric influences for today. Instead of risking more than is necessary, make an effort to engage with others in a manner that's both harmonious and emphasizes your values. You may realize as the day progresses that it's your inner strength that will carry you through today. Allow your intuition to guide your choices and allow higher awareness to inform your overall understanding. So basically what I'm saying here, there could be a lot of ego that you encounter today, and you've got to keep your vibration high around it. It's easy to get pulled into things that you normally wouldn't have, especially if reaction takes over. So this is a day where you've got to stay lofty, and you should get through just fine. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a rune here. We went to the store last night, and my husband's going to make an apple pie today, and he didn't get enough apples. He's too short. So back to the store for more Granny Smith apples. And then I think, he also needs light brown sugar because he's almost out of that. Did you all notice that there wasn't any dark brown sugar for a long time? We didn't have it around here. And I don't know. There was one store that seemed to have it, be packed full of it. So maybe it's just the store itself that didn't have it. But for a long time, one store we would go to here, they didn't have any dark brown sugar. So we had to make our own, which is fine. I used to do that all the time anyway. But he needs the light brown sugar. He's also making carrot bread today. So yes, my husband bakes. He likes to do it. I don't know. But anyway, let's go ahead and we'll leave the esoteric influences up here on the screen just in case that we need to look at them later. But here we have Perthro. And again, it kind of aligns with the esoteric forecast here, because Perthro is about fate. It's also about new beginnings and fertility and the womb. All kinds of things, really, that you wouldn't think necessarily would be about it. But I usually just look at Perthro in terms of fate. Let me see if there's anything else I forgot. Cause and effect and synchronicity. Directionality is important in this rune. Here it's open to birth. Here it's open to death. Here it's a cauldron. And or this could be new beginnings. Here is also childbirth. So directionality matters. It's basically you can think of it as the dice, or rather the cup from which dice are tossed. So you can see the idea of chance there, or chance or fate. And I generally interpret Perthro as who's going to govern your fate today. So in terms of the esoteric forecast, is it going to be what's going on around you, or are you going to pull from a higher council to actually define how things are going to go for you today. Let's take a look at the Geomancy elemental runes here, and we'll throw them down. And where did it all go? There it went. Okay. I'm going to put it in the order of air, fire, or rather fire, air, water, and earth. That gives us Acquisitio, which is what we had last time. Last time we had, I forget what the other one was. What was the other one? I don't know. Fortuna Major, maybe? I don't know. But, no. It was, no, let me look. In fact, just let me look here. I will pull up a screen and I can tell you what it was because I put it up on Patreon. Did I put it up on Patreon? Yeah, I did. But why isn't it there? Where's my insights? Where's my posts? There's the posts for 23rd. There it is. Oh, I know, because I put that other thing up later. Kenaz and Acquisitio. Okay, that's what this was. It was Kenaz. There you're talking about increased awakening and all of that. Remember, the Acquisitio can be increase of any kind. It can be gain of any kind. If something were to end, say you're having a disagreement with a friend or a partner or somebody or a family member. Acquisitio could actually mean, and so could emissio, its complement. Emissio would be lost. You would end that, or you could say you gained something from the experience itself. Maybe some truth came out, maybe some better understanding between the two of you came out. So there's a lot of ways to interpret the Geomancy runes. I like to do a lot of it energetically. So emissio would be decrease and Acquisitio would be increase. So if you're talking about gain or increase with Acquisitio and Perthro, what are you gaining by controlling your own fate and not allowing ego to do that, or the egos of other people to do that? What are you going to gain today? And maybe it'll be the cards that tell us what that is. So let's go ahead and shuffle just a little bit more. I sit and I shuffle before I start this, so I don't have to spend a whole lot of time doing it. We'll cut the deck. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. Well, this gave us the King of Cups, the High Priestess, and the World. So when we talk about the King of Cups, I'm shaking everything. I'm bumping my desk here. I apologize. When we talk about the King of Cups, I tend to view the King of Cups as somebody who's a little passive-aggressive. You see, he doesn't look you in the eye. He's floating on the water in his throne. He's got a scepter in one hand, which kind of, it kind of looks like a cup there at the top, doesn't it? And then you see his chalice in his right hand there. Cups is the water element. So it's talking about our emotions, empathy. Sometimes people will refer to it as intuition. Usually fire element is more intuition oriented, or air, although air is a little more reasonable than maybe fire is. But you're looking at a guy who's, he's fine. He's generous. He may have trouble with commitment. He's wise and loving and all of that. But I just tend to look at him as a little passive aggressive. He uses his authority in a way that may be okay, may be compassionate, may be understanding. But on the other hand, he might like to be a little bit of a drama king, if you will. And so there's a little ego involved there, isn't there? With any king, I think there is. I'm not particularly fond of kings, and I tell everybody that here. I don't really trust them. I feel like they're motivated by things that maybe aren't as magnanimous as they should be. But that's just my own bias, maybe. I don't know. Moving on to the High Priestess, though. And to do a numerology here with 21 for the world, that reduces to 3 plus 2 is 5. So we can get change, protection, innovation, talent, freedom versus restriction, which could be part of the issue with this guy. I don't know. But anyway, here we have a different kind of balance, and this is subconscious. The high priestess sits on her throne. She sits between the pillars of Solomon, Boaz and Joachim. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but I think I am. The drape behind her is actually a depiction. I believe that they're pomegranates. So that's what they look like. And if you could see behind her, I bet that this would be the Kabbalistic tree of life. She sits with one foot on a crescent moon, or not a crescent moon, the maiden moon. That's sort of a sliver there of maiden, mother, and crone. You see maiden, mother, and crone up here on her crown. You see the cross here, and it's not a religious cross or a medical cross. I'll show you what that is, at least in my estimation. She holds the Torah right there. So she's somebody who's about intuition, inner wisdom, the divine feminine, revelation, let's see, dreams, change, but alignment in spirit. But you start out with the fool who takes the leap, right? Who takes that leap of faith into form. And with all undeveloped potential. But then once you get into form, the body has to get created, and the world around you gets created. And that's the job of the magician, to do that with all the elements around him, putting them together in a way that manifests life, basically. And then we have the high priestess, who is the subconscious aspect of self. So you could look at the magician as more the physical side of things, and then with the high priestess as the inner part, where you're really accessing higher awareness and all of that. And then we come to the Empress, who gives birth to creation, followed by the Emperor, who is her consort. But here, this is really a card of inner balance in a lot of ways. And if we're talking about Perthro and Acquisitio here in terms of the significators of the reading, then obviously when we're going to decide who's controlling our fate today, we have to listen to that inner voice, and that aligns extremely well with today's esoteric forecast. We have to be able to do that so that we can step outside the ego's reaction long enough to take a better look at what's really happening. Do I have to respond? In other words, do I have to react? Do I have to go with the flow, or can I just simply, live in my own space and not really engage that way? You get down in the muck of the ego, and things don't necessarily turn out the way you need them to turn out. And I think that the high priestess is simply suggesting, how about we just go within and take a look there and see how this really feels to us before we go and start following along with the crowd, basically. But anyway, one of the things I wanted to say, I talk about this periodically. Let's see, that's my number 7 description of the scales. But here you have the cross, and you'll see this. I forget which other one is on. Is it? It's when Gabriel's blowing his horn. That's also got the same sort of thing. Oh wait, I've already done this. I've got it hooked to my deal here. This is what it means, at least in my estimation. It's theoretically we ought to be here when we're in form, but we're not. We're down here. So we're a little more reactive, a little more personality based. We forget that we're spirit. We forget we're a soul. And this is the axis that we're on. Basically, this is the line that moves the energy, the soul energy, into the body. And then here you have the horizontal plane. This is the vertical plane. You have the horizontal plane of feminine and masculine, or receptive and projective presence. And so what kind of a balance are you going to have? Ideally, you make that choice to come into form. Theoretically, you ought to be here, striving for balance right here. And it's not that you can't do that. You can. It's just initially that's not what happens. We're down here. And a lot of people most people stay there. They do their struggling. They have all of this, and they don't realize that it's really a choice. They don't understand the impact of Perthrow in their lives because they're just not familiar with it. But the minute you start to think about these things, there's a shift in perception. And you can't help but for that to be there. In other words, once you know who and what you are in truth, you can't unknow that anymore. And then suddenly the things you think about change. Suddenly the experiences you have begin to change. All because you've recognized that you're really a soul, and you have more choices than to simply, get down in the muck with the ego. You have more choices than that. And you can keep a higher vibration. And once you start to do that, then where you are here begins to move up to here. Well, I don't know if we ever get here. Maybe, maybe the Dalai Lama is there, somebody like that, or someone who is deeply spiritual and sort of lives there. Then sure. But the rest of us who maybe aren't, that are still trying to figure all of this out, it's a little more difficult. But that's where I think the high priestess is suggesting, you have to go inside. You have to get into that inner voice and know what's really true and listen to that. You can think of it as the angel on your shoulder maybe, but it's keeping you on that spiritual path instead of devolving into the ego's reactiveness. It's a lower vibrational energy, and what the high priestess is suggesting is you need to keep the vibration high today. And that's essentially what I said in the esoteric forecast. Taking us now to the world, we come full circle with the garland that goes around here. We see the lemnis gates above and below, so the cyclical nature of life, things go up and down. But eventually we come full circle. These are the hermetic descriptions of the elements here. Instead of the glyphs that you oftentimes will see. They also represent the four suits of the tarot. But here we come full circle. It's completion, it's synthesis, it's reward, and so it's gain. So what do we gain then? We gain that higher awakening. We gain that higher vibrational awareness. Instead of allowing the ego to have us be a little passive aggressive here with the King of Cups, maybe we can turn that passive aggression into the positive aspects of the King of Cups, where your inner authority is about compassion, it's about love, it's about understanding, it's about that higher awareness of spirit. Manifesting into our perceptions and into our choices, and again into the choice of Perthrow, of whether or not we're going to determine our own fate by the soul and what it wants to do here, or are we going to look around at everything that's going on around us and react, and I would just suggest that for today, make an effort to engage with others in a manner that is both harmonious and emphasizes your values. And the values that I'm talking about, again, are spiritual values, instead of taking the bait and getting into it with people, arguing about, this or that. And again, allowing your intuition, that's your high priestess here, allowing your intuition to guide your choices and allow higher awareness to inform your overall understanding. So once again, the reading is aligning with today's esoteric forecast, which I always find that to be really cool if I can make that connection, because I can't always, sometimes they're just two different things, and that's okay, One of the things I changed about the esoteric forecast on the blog over at Stepping Aside, and the web address there, by the way, is imsteppingaside.com. You can click on show more, scroll down past the paragraphs about what I'm doing here, and then you'll see some links, and the website's there, Stepping Aside's there. You can just click on it and or copy and paste it into your browser and go there and take a look at stuff. But the esoteric forecast for the week, what I did with that is I combined two different posts I'd been doing weekly, and there's two things for each day. One, the planetary governor, so the sun, on Sunday, the moon on Monday, Mars on Tuesday, Mercury on Wednesday, Jupiter on Thursday, Venus on Friday, and Saturn on Saturday. And what I do there in the initial part of it is I talk about what the influence of that particular planetary body is on us for the whole week. And then down below it, before I move on to the next day and to the next planet, I have the day's information specific to just the day itself. And so, and that's what I read here today for Thursday. That's the second part of each day that I have on the esoteric forecast for the week. So that goes out. It's out on Sundays for the week. And so check that out. And I also put it in the newsletter that I send out on, I usually send that out on Saturday nights. So for whatever reason, I thought that I sent it out, but then I saw on my laptop, it was still up and I hadn't done that yet. Now it's possible that I started it there and I finished it in this room. And that maybe I ended up sending it out twice. I don't know. But the bottom line is, that's where you can also find it among some other things. If you want to sign up for the newsletter, you can do that as well. You can do that over on the blog. It's you just scroll down a little bit. It's on the left side panel. You'll see it. And I've also been putting the current week's a link to the current week's newsletter that I send out right there too, so you can see what it is if you're not interested, And the thing is you can unsubscribe at any time. I have a place up top and also at the bottom of it. It's very obvious where to do it. And if you decide, I just have too much in my inbox, I mean, I end up having, every few months, I have to delete thousands of things. It's just ridiculous. I can't find stuff otherwise, I miss stuff, and so I try to unsubscribe to different things that I don't even know how I got on I don't even know how that happens. But anyway, somewhere or another, I'm doing it and I'm not paying attention. And so then I have all this crap in my inbox that I don't want to see. And eventually I have to go through and delete all of it, which is a pain. So I just make it easy for folks, if they want to take it for a while and then they don't, that's fine too. So, but other than that, I guess that's it for this. And, I mean, just basically for the next few days, just think about, instead of getting into it with people, instead of taking the bait and rising to the occasion, rise above and see how that feels, and connect that to the soul aspect of self instead of the lower ego aspect of self. Connect that to that. Make that internal connection, that intentional internal connection, where you're acknowledging, okay, I'm there. I'm raising my vibration higher, and I'm responding with that aspect of self. Start making that connection and see if there's not a difference in your awareness, a difference in some of the choices that you make. Perthro is a really powerful rune of intention, and it's not just about chance or the idea of fate being beyond our control. It really isn't. We manifest our world, and each one of us does, in our based on what we came in here to do and to learn about. And so we're doing that at every given moment. And so we really do have more power than we think we do to affect what we see and how we experience our life around us. And see, you've got everybody else, all other souls doing the same thing. And some of us are interacting, together with one another and maybe being the catalyst for growth for someone else. And wouldn't it be lovely if the catalyst for growth in people is the awareness of who we are as one in the collective consciousness of the Creator? So that would be a lovely thing to have happen, wouldn't it? It'd be a whole lot better than what's going on these days with all this violence and strife and hate and all this other nonsense that's going on. So that's just so counterproductive. So anyway, that's it. Have a good weekend, and come back again on Monday for another edition of As Above, So Below. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.